Good morning. We are in the Community Media Center's Express Studio, and it is Tuesday, September 28th, 2010, and it is my pleasure to be speaking to my good friend, Paul Ricci. Hi, Paul. How are you
Jim,
today?
thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So, tell me about yourself, Paul. You're not a native Carroll Countyan. You moved here late in life.
No, we came here in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
We came from Michigan and came here with purpose. I was working for a man by the name of Dennis Meal. He was the owner of Sweetheart Cup, and he asked me to come to Sweetheart down at Owings Mill and to be director of purchasing for that operation. I was already working for him in New York at the New York office. I had just come back from running a internet company out in California for a year. So, but I had worked for Dennis for a long time.
Right. So you found Carroll County by accident.
Yeah, and we loved when we looked to relocate. We just liked the area, liked the town, the setting. My wife, we had looked at a lot of homes, and Chris found a home that was just in the process of being built, and we loved it. So we moved to Westminster, which is only 20 minutes or so from Owings Mill.
Yeah,
so.
fantastic. So let's talk about your life. Where were you born and when?
Born February 11th, 1940, in Little Neck, New York, which is in Queens County, and we moved after about a year or so to the next town over, which was in Nassau County, Great Neck. And I lived the majority of my teenage years all through the elementary and high school system in the Great Neck school system, which is a great school system. And was both very musically involved, also in sports, but music was the driving force in my life, driven by my dad in many respects.
Now your dad was a professional?
My dad was a professional musician. At that time he was very much involved in recording. He was on NBC staff for almost 10 years, did a lot of freelance work. Played a lot with a lot of big bands.
Now he played all the reed instruments, so he played clarinet and saxophone.
Clarinet, saxophone, all the saxophone, flute. Very, very talented musician.
Now, but you don't play clarinet and saxophone. How?
No.
Okay.
At an early age, I have two brothers and a sister. We all played music. We all took piano lessons at an early age, 5, 6. And then my dad suggested, and when Dad suggested, you listened. Typical Italian patriarchal family approach. He said, one of you should play trumpet and one of you should play trombone. I chose trombone because I could take lessons from my uncle, Mickey Arturi, who was on NBC staff.
Wow.
So I started playing when I was 6 or 7.
And your brother, I guess, took
trumpet. And he played that, and then he became very much more involved in piano. And he is retiring in December from Western Michigan University, where he's been on staff for 28, 29 years, PhD in music.
No kidding. Yeah, good.
Very talented musician, has his own jazz group and what have you.
So you started playing trombone at about
6 or 7. Was very much involved in all the bands and competitive performances. Graduated high school and received a full scholarship to Oberlin University, the School of Music.
Wow.
Which I turned down.
No kidding.
Yeah. And chose to go to Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is a co-op school. My older brother was going there as well, and I didn't have any trouble getting into any school, so Bob was there, and so I wanted to. It was nothing against music. It's just that I chose to go a different path.
Right.
I thought I would go into business as a career, and the co-op was a 5-year program, work study, terrific school, great education,
and it worked out for you.
Yeah. I went on. I got a graduate scholarship from Antioch to the University of Chicago Graduate School of Business,
Mm-hmm.
and I went there. We married, went to Chicago, got a master's degree, and then my first employment was with Roman Haas Chemical Company in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in, got an interview, just like Jim Aiola does at times, and large chemical company, about $1.2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Financial trainee, and
Mm-hmm.
I moved 6 times in a period of 17 years I was with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a financial director of North America, which
Mm-hmm.
was the largest division, about $1.6 billion when I was at assistant director of purchasing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was recruited to go to Clorox company in California.
Wow.
By a Roman Haas person who had gone to Clorox.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to California, my family, and was with Clorox, director of purchasing at Clorox, and watched their growth and participated in a lot of acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was recruited again in, let's see, I think it was 1987 or whatever, by Dennis Meal,
Mm-hmm.
who, entrepreneur, and he had a paper company called 4M Corporation, and he hired me as his chief financial officer,
Mm-hmm.
vice president, chief financial officer. And in a period of 15 months, we grew the company from 30 million to 150 million through acquisition and building.
Wow.
In 15 months, and that was
Yeah.
an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I worked for him for a fairly long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was recruited again to go to another company called Plastipac Packaging by a fellow by the name of Bill Young, a privately owned plastics company.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran a $500 million beverage bottle production operation.
Mm-hmm.
Actually enjoyed that quite a bit, running my own business. My words from Dennis was, when you get through with this, just call me and you'll come back.
Wow.
But as a segue, I was with Plastipac for about 3 years, and then a lot of traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, I think I'll take a respite from this.
Yeah.
And I went to work for the Detroit Rescue Mission as
Okay.
executive vice president
Okay.
in a nonprofit.
Right.
And I was there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had been involved with my church with the rescue mission, and the president asked me to help to get them out. They were bankrupt, so
Right.
they helped me to get them out of bankruptcy. Yeah. And so I did that, and then went back to Dennis Meal.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and rejoined him, and I worked in the New York office,
Mm-hmm.
and then I worked in the West Coast, as I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
running an internet company
Mm-hmm.
that we tried, and then I came to Maryland
Right.
to join Sweetheart.
Wow.
Have,
It's almost like being in a military family. You've
well,
been all over the country.
my wife was from a military family,
Mhm.
and our children. I actually have 4 children,
Mm-hmm.
3 girls, 1 boy.
Okay.
They're all grown up. They're all musicians. That's
Good.
one of my
Yeah.
pride and joy,
Yeah.
is
Good.
that all of them are professional musicians. Let's see, 2 of them are teachers. One of them has a private practice and has a large studio or piano, and she teaches vocal as well. She's a Maryland resident, lives in Bowie,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a master's from the University of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And my son is a very talented trombone player,
Mm-hmm.
and I taught him initially, and then transferred him to a better player than me, and he went on, and he works for Music and Arts here in Frederick,
Mhm.
Maryland, and he and his wife are here, and they love Maryland as well, so
Right.
that's really great. I mean, from
Wonderful.
a local standpoint, we love it here. We wish our daughter and her husband would come, they live in Michigan, and we hope they eventually will come here as
Yeah.
well.
So you've moved to Carroll County, and you've been in Carroll County for about a decade now.
Right about 10 years.
Yeah. And you're still involved in music. What musical
Very
things
much
are you
involved.
doing?
I'm in 3 dance bands, Sentimental Journey, the Savoy Swing Band, and the Tom Rowland Dance Band. They're all large bands. I have I'm a director of my own trombone choir, and of which Jim Ayola is a member. And we perform here locally, and I also play in the Westminster Concert Band.
So you're involved in the
Very
Westminster
much involved in the
Westminster
local.
Municipal Band, yeah.
Right, Westminster
Now
Municipal.
you don't march anymore. You don't do the parades.
Only the short marches.
Right.
Nothing long.
But all the concerts.
All the concerts.
Yeah.
I play throughout the year with that.
That's a wonderful organization. Isn't
Well,
it?
it's a local. It's a very tradition-bound organization, and it's fun to play with them. It's fun to participate in the local community. It's really been a real joy just to be here and play.
So, what do you think about Carroll County, Paul? You've lived in almost every corner of the country.
We lived in California, in New York, and Pennsylvania, and here, and Chicago.
You ended up settling in Carroll County, of all places. So there must be some charm here. There must have been something that drew you here.
Well, clearly, when you move to an area like this, and we had moved 6, 7 times, so we were looking for a couple things. The friendliness of the community, the makeup of the way it operates. And one of the things in Carroll County I think that has changed over the years is that it has continued to become more cosmopolitan. It clearly has continued to grow. There's been more construction growth here. It's far enough away from Baltimore, and yet close enough to go down to the symphony and to go downtown for events. And I play all around, in the bands, I play all around the area. My wife works here at St. Paul's United Church of Christ, and so we're involved in that part of the community as well. And I think the downtown area still has its challenges, as do all because Maryland has a lot of little towns.
Right.
But Carroll County, as a county, I mean, we travel around the county quite a bit, and even into Frederick County as well. Just a nice place to live. Our perception is that the school systems are very good. The roads, when you live in Michigan and other places in the country, you'd find out how good our roads are,
right,
compared to lots of places in the country. So, and we like the weather here; it's very pleasant, easy to get to New York. I go to New York pretty regularly. Good transportation, so just a good balanced place to live.
You mentioned that there's been a lot of growth in the county, and it's becoming more cosmopolitan. You've been here for a decade. What other changes have you seen in the county?
I think one of the things in the county that's been interesting has been the difficulty of the small towns and the town centers to thrive compared to the malls and the shopping, and to keep a downtown area vibrant is a very big challenge, I think, in the state of Maryland. It just is. And in Carroll County particularly. You see the financial difficulties in these kind of times, how tough it is to maintain city facilities, what have you. We have a great fire department here. We have a great library system.
We do.
And both my wife and I use the library as a resource, both here and in Finksburg. But the Carroll County system is terrific, well managed and well run. So I think that the city continues to try hard to get better and better, but it's a very difficult challenge.
And we see some improvement. We see new stores and shops opening up, and little niche stores that seem to be quite interesting, and hopefully they'll hang on.
Yeah, I think one of the things, the other observation I would make is because I do travel quite a bit I have a consulting business that when I retired from Sweetheart, that I started, which is oil and natural gas and plastic resins. So I have clients all over the United States. I have 15 major clients, and I travel around the United States. I see that in these difficult times, Carroll County and Westminster particularly has held on pretty well. Not too many businesses shut down, but some.
Right.
But when you travel around the country, certainly Florida, and travel out west, you see some states that are really hurting pretty badly. So we've been fortunate that there's been growth. We have new construction up on 140 now, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
So, and Maryland appears to be, holding its own. Is where I would characterize it.
Paul, you've been all over the country. You've grown up yourself, and you raised a family. I always conclude my interviews with the same question. If you were going to offer some advice to a young person that was getting ready to start out today, maybe to start a family or just graduating from high school or college and start a career, what advice would you give that person?
I thought about this, and you gave me a little advance notice on some of the questions, and that's helpful because I think one of the things that, for me, of the 4 or 5 or 6 things that I would recommend to young people coming into the work environment is be committed. While you're in school, study hard. And for me, it's a personal thing. I found that both in high school and in college, working and studying at the same time, going to school full time, but also working on the side, made me more productive. Have balance. I really felt that my music and my business career have given me an unusual insight into lots of different things. So I always recommend to people, have balance. Don't just do one thing and be totally myopic on that. Do multiple things. And for my music, for music students, you have to take lessons. Taking lessons and practicing as a diligent effort is a key to success.
Absolutely.
So, you got to do some of those things. And for me, in my end of my career that I'm going through now, I enjoy playing in as many groups as I can, and enjoy my family and see the children grow and follow in those footsteps.
Right. Fantastic. Well, Paul, I want to thank you so much for coming out today and taking this interview. It was very enjoyable, very educational. I learned a lot. So thank you so much.
Jim, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Enjoyed it.